We in Stoke Newington have a very special memory of the Second World War, one of the greatest disasters which we in London experienced took place in this area. On the 13th of October 1940, there was a direct hit on Coronation Avenue, which resulted in flooding and the death of at least 166 people. This was during the Blitz and sent great shockwaves around the country and around the world at the terrible tragedy that had taken place. Many of those who perished were Jewish people, being that many Jews had moved out from the East End, headed north to a place which was less crowded. Coronation Avenue itself, together with the neighboring Imperial Avenue, were social housing built by the Rothschilds in order to enable people to live in better housing quality than they had previously. Under Coronation Avenue, there was a very large space which served as a air raid shelter, and under normal circumstances it would have been the ideal place. But here there was a direct hit which destroyed the building, and afterwards this building was reconstructed, and I think it's the only building in Coronation and Imperial Avenues which has a lift, and that was because it was reconstructed after the war and a lift was installed. But this building was totally destroyed, and it penetrated the shelter and caused flooding, and the flooding was the basic reason for the large death toll, that people were trapped and sadly drowned. Stoke Newington and Dalston at the time were centers of Jewish life. And even though today there is still a large number of Jews and a very thriving Jewish life in many parts of Stoke Newington, this event took place when Stoke Newington was probably at its zenith of Jewish life. There were very many synagogues in the area, and this was not long after the great emigration from the East End into the surrounding areas, including Dalston and Stoke Newington. Most of the Jews in the neighborhood were craftspeople, tailors, furniture makers, small shopkeepers, and other crafts people. And a lot of them were young people with young families. And what happened on that night still haunts the children of the people who died there, or were saved there. And this memory is a very deep and profound and sentimental memory for those who survived. Many of those who died in the difficult times and turmoil of London during the Blitz didn't have anyone to claim them. Many of them were refugees who didn't have any family, and they were interred in Abney Park Cemetery. And they are to be found, they were buried in a very pell-mell fashion all over the cemetery. So we're not sure exactly where they are buried, because this happened during the war, where people didn't really have much time to mark where they were burying the people. So therefore these people are scattered throughout the cemetery. But those with family buried their loved ones in various Jewish cemeteries in East London. When one speaks about this, it of course arouses within one very, very deep sentiments, which are difficult to deal with. On one hand, we have a duty of memory to remember those who passed away. 166 people, men, women, and children, each one with a life, each one with a hoped future. And suddenly, their lives were taken away. And we have a duty of memory. We have a duty to remember their lives and to try to contribute something to what they stood for. These people were by and large Jewish people. And many of them had come here seeking a better life, fleeing from the pogroms and persecution in Eastern Europe, fleeing from the poverty. Most of the Jewish people that came here would be today called economic migrants. And there's nothing wrong with being an economic migrant, because when people live in dire poverty, it is their right, and I would say their duty, to try to find a place where they will be able to live better lives and create better lives for their children and for their descendants. So when we talk about 13th of October 1940, we're talking about people who were looking to the future, who were looking for a better life. And what they had run away from in Europe had come, and their worst nightmares had taken place. But on the other hand, many of these people left behind family, children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and they have been blessed to grow up in the freedom, in the prosperity that, thank God, this country affords us all. And we have to share those dreams And those positive experiences with our neighbors, with people who are fleeing a similar situation that our ancestors had experienced as well. We as Jews in Britain have a very special role to play because we know what it's like to be persecuted. We know what it's like to be a minority. We know what it's like to be excluded from the mainstream of society. And therefore, we are the ideal ambassadors to explain, to communicate the reasons why refugees are coming to this country and to be able to help others understand the importance of helping these individuals and these families. As Jews, we have great opportunities to live proudly as Jews in this country, to be better educators as Jews, to be more proud of our Jewishness, to be more connected to the mitzvahs, to our Jewish way of life. Stoke Newington has a proud history of being open for people who are different. And we have contributed to British society to understand, not just to be tolerant, but to understand and to appreciate and to help those who are different to integrate into the mainstream of society. We as Jews need to appreciate these opportunities and utilize these opportunities to the full in the spirit of appreciation to Britain for providing us with a haven and providing others with a haven as well. The 13th of October, on one hand then, is a day of memory. It's a day of remembering the past, but the past also needs to inspire us. The past needs to inform us. The past needs to teach us how we can create a better present and future. And I trust that all of us will grant those who passed away this merit of learning from the past and creating a better present and future for their descendants and for us all. Thank you very much.